Hello, this is Brian Houle, a solutions consultant with Beyond 20, and today I want to look at the out-of-the-box change request workflow in Cherwell Service Management. As you know, Cherwell Service Management comes with lots of ITIL-based workflows ready to go out of the box. Very cool. And they've been doing some really neat stuff with their change request. And I want to look at how to manage approvals with a standing cab. So here we're looking at a change record. We have the object type here, the ID. It's type normal. That could be normal, standard, or emergency. Status is in review, and the priority is high. And I'll go through the change record in detail in another video. But right here, we're looking at the identify affected CI step. We're in step view, where we can see each stage of the form in digestible stages. We can click expanded view, and that'll give us everything all on one form if we're so inclined. But the step view is a really nice feature here. Go back to step view. I want to look at the approvals tab, the current approvals tab. So let's raise this up. So out of the box, change requests come with a couple of different approval types. Here we see we have assessment approval and implementation approval, which the requester will need to get before it can be implemented. And so our standard user here, out of the box sample user Gina, has an approval for assessment approval and implementation approval. But Bruce, Claire, and Henry, or Henri, they all have to be a part of the implementation approval as well. So if we want to look at that, we can pop over here to our blueprint. Under the major object types, I've clicked change requests. I'm clicking edit approvals. And out of the box, here's what we have. We have these three approval blocks. The first one is emergency change implementation requests. You'll notice that emergency changes, because they're emergencies, don't have assessment approval as part of them. So let's edit that. And here's what an approval block looks like. It's essentially either an entire approval or a stage in an approval. It has a trigger condition. These are all expression clauses that determine when this approval triggers. If we click approvers, we can see that we're pulling our approvers from a couple of relationships. And in this part here, we're determining how many approvers are required for approval. So we can require all of them, a percentage, or a specific number. And then finally, once approval has been granted or denied, we'll execute particular actions based on that. But I just wanted to give you a quick overview of an approval block. So this is for the emergency change implementation requests. We need half of our approvers to approve. For a normal change assessment approval, again, we have the trigger condition, approvers, and actions. But if we look under approvers, we need one person to approve. And under normal change implementation approval, we need, again, 50% of approvers to approve. So that's how approvals work. However, there's one other table that we need to be aware of before we move forward, and you can get to that through table management, and that is the standing cab member table. By default, this table is not available in table management, so what we actually have to do is run a blueprint in which we edit the standing cab member table, go to BizOb properties, and we want to tick show in table management. We'll click OK, and we'll publish this guy. Now, I've already done that here. So let's look at this form. If we double click into this record, we see that in the case of an emergency change, Gina, whose role is the change manager, should be involved in the implementation phase, but not the assessment phase. If we click over, we see that in an emergency, Susan O'Connor, a technical analyst role, also involved in the implementation phase, but not the assessment phase. And if we tick over again, under normal change, Gina, again the change manager, is involved in both phases. So through this table, you can determine which members of your standing cab are involved in which phases of a given type of change. We see that Gina is involved in the assessment phase and the implementation phase. And so if we go back to our change request, we see that she had both approvals listed. Bruce, however, under a normal change, is only involved in the implementation phase. He does not need to be involved in the assessment phase. Same thing with Claire, same thing with Henri. So back at our change request, if we just drag our tab up here a little. So just as we saw in the standing cab member table, we see that Gina is involved in both the assessment and the implementation approval phases, and she had both of those ticked. However, for a normal change, Bruce, Claire, and Henri are only involved in the implementation approval phase. So that's how you can determine which cab members are involved in which phase of a given type of change in the out-of-the-box change request workflow in Cherwell Service Management. It's very cool. There's more cool things about how they've done change in this latest version, and I'll explore those in later videos. So please subscribe to our channel. Thanks very much.